This is the Said No One Ever podcast, a podcast about things you never knew you wanted to hear about. I'm your host, Martin Moore. Let's get into it.
Do the same, whatever that one is.
Yes,
That's the one
yes.
Well, we've tried different ones in that one.
Really?
Whatever that. Well,
that's
it's like
the
the
one
one right in front.
That's the one that's right in front.
Yeah.
And I recorded an episode once where I did the front and the back. Oh, boy, the echo
Was
on
it
that
bad?
was not ideal.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of the Said No One Ever podcast. I have got a little guest today, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm ultra jacked about. I have known this guy for a long time. He's a fashion guru, an avid golfer, much better golfer than me, content creator, father, some may say an influencer, and a very good friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Drew Westphal.
Oh man, it's a pleasure to be here, and yeah, you're
Welcome,
too kind,
buddy.
Mark. You're too kind.
Oh, I love it. For my listeners and stuff who don't know who you are, why don't you talk about who you are, what you do, kind of just a little bit about your story. You know, the elevator pitch.
Yeah,
fill the people in.
The elevator pitch. So yeah, my name is Drew Westphal, but some of you might know me as Everyday Drew on Instagram and many platforms. I have lived many lives on social media and on the internet, and
That's
I
an
have.
understatement.
Yeah, I wear a lot of hats. But probably the reason why you guys might be tuning in today and are interested, because we're going to be talking about influencer marketing, content creators, and that's where I've made my professional career and also a hobby. A little bit about me: I started in the men's fashion space, and that's really how I met Martin and Martin's work at Cost Headphones, where he asked me to model some headphones back in the day.
Right when I first started,
Yeah.
You were like one of the first people I connected with.
Yeah, and we went out and shot and had a great time, and I got to be on some Cost billboards and
Commercials,
pamphlets and commercials and
subway
billboards,
billboards,
subway
all kinds of weird crap.
yeah, the bus billboards.
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
There's a bus one. I was definitely in the Shepherd Express somewhere because
that's right.
for like a while I kept getting texts from the picture of me in the Cost headphones in the Collectivo.
You were in some of the ads for the Milwaukee Film Fest.
Oh yeah, the Milwaukee Film Fest. Yeah, it was like
we've used you all over.
Yeah, I've been around. I've been around with Cost headphones on, but lately I've kind of transitioned into working in the golf space. I was a college golfer. I played golf since I was a little kid, and like many people in the world, in 2020 when the world kind of shut down, golf courses opened up.
Oh yeah,
and the golf.
Boy, it was hard to get a tee time.
It stayed hard to get a tee time. So the golf industry is booming, and I have my own podcast, Group Golf Therapy, where we talk about the intersection of mental health and golf. And now I'm here on this podcast. So
I started golfing this is my third real season. I rented clubs my first season. This is my third real season, and dude, I love it. It's the most enriching, enlightening, but infuriating thing I've ever done in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when on a par 3, I hit the flagpole and I was like, holy crap, I'm going to get a hole in one.
Yeah.
And then I didn't.
Yeah.
But it was just when you have those moments where it's just God, I feel like amazing. I feel like I could play against Tiger Woods.
It's the
feels
feeling
great.
that keeps you coming back.
And then there's those when you shank them or you a couple chips out of a sand trap.
Lose a bunch in the water hazard.
I have a bent 3-iron that I got really.
We've all been there. I think the beautiful thing about golf is you can go out and shoot 125, and then you can have that one shot where you hit the flag and you're like, oh my God, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
It's like that.
As long as that happens on the 18th.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Exactly. I mean, even if it happens on the first hole, then it's you're chasing that feeling the whole round.
2 questions, and then we'll get on to the podcast. 1, have you ever hit a hole in one?
No, I have not.
Okay.
Still chasing that dragon.
Okay. Second question: if you did hit a hole in one, let's say it was on the first or second hole, clubhouse. Or would you keep playing?
You might want to get another one in that round. Why not get 2?
Well, I'm glad to have you on this episode. I've been going back and forth on what to call this episode. It was originally going to be called Influencer Culture, but it wasn't clickbaity enough for me, and so I want to call this episode Influencers in the Wild. Do you follow that Instagram account? Because it's one of my
I do.
favorite
I do.
favorite Instagram accounts of all time. If you don't know it, go on Instagram, put in Influencers in the Wild. They actually have like a board game that's like the game of life on Target.
I saw the
ordered
ads.
it.
Oh, did
and
you?
you basically choose like what influencer you're going to be and all this. Oh God, the account's so funny. Basically, it's people who like they see like I don't know some girl on the beach shaking her butt and someone's taking a video or some dude like rapping in his car or whatever, and like they catch them in this sort of candid voyeuristic way
in
and
the
then
act,
post it on there. Oh, it's
in the act of creating content.
and I've never been on there, but there has been people that have like seen me on the street, like when I used to vlog, and then they'd send me a video. I'm like, oh my God, I'm one of those people.
You could have, if only they would have sent it over to Influencers in the Wild, you could have been famous.
Oh my God. Well, whenever I have a conversation about this topic, I always find myself buried in a lot of personal conflict because, I talk about influencer culture with a lot of dissonance because I don't consider myself an influencer, even though I know that my actions with the vlog and the brands I've worked with completely contradict that.
Right.
Because like influencers drive me insane like sometimes. Yeah. But on the flip side, I mean, it's a great way to make money, and especially whether you're a video game streamer or you do fashion or whatever it is, you can get a start very early at life, even in high school or middle school or right out of college, and you can make a lot of money. There's access and opportunity to money and influence and working with brands in a way that when we were kids, it was never there.
No.
Back in the day, being an influencer was you were a celebrity or you wanted to be an athlete or something like that. And so it's interesting how it's changed. So I kind of want to get into the differences between an influencer and a content creator because I think there's a real big difference there when talking about those two. I want to get into how someone even becomes an influencer. How do they make money? I want to get into some of the toxic trends we see on like LinkedIn and TikTok and just some of the copycat people. So Drew, for you, what is I guess, one, how would you describe an influencer? And two, what is the difference to you between a content creator and an influencer?
Yeah, good question. And I think for a little bit of context for the audience at home, for me, my background is digital marketing. I went to school for communication and business. And to date myself, when I started college, I had to have a .edu address to get a Facebook account. So that's how old I am. Instagram did not exist when I was in college. And Twitter,
thank God for it.
Probably. I mean, and Twitter had just gotten started when I was in college, and it was interesting. Like you could still text like the number 4044 or whatever to text a tweet.
God, I forgot about
smartphones.
That. Yes,
before smartphones, and it was really funny because how me and my friends used Twitter was we used it as like a chat platform where we would text tweets to each other.
Yes,
like we knew it was like going out there to our feed, but it was mostly like you would tweet at someone to message them instead of text them.
Yeah,
and I remember doing that in class and like tweeting friends, and it was not the social media behemoth that it is today.
Right.
So that's the context of where I came from. And I started posting on Instagram probably in 2012, coming from like Tumblr and Reddit and style forums where I was like posting questions and posting outfits because that was where I got my start in the fashion world. And then I started posting on Instagram, and obviously Instagram has become the platform that it is today. But Reels. So that's how I got my start as a quote unquote influencer. And brands started reaching out, and I got to meet a lot of really amazing people in the men's fashion industry, whether it's designers, brands, and I've made a lot of great relationships and have a lot of friendships through there. So that's like the background of me and like where my viewpoint is on like the influence culture. So to get back to your original question, the difference between an influencer and a content creator. In 2022, I see an influencer as a person who is they're an advertiser. They're an extension of paid media. So they're looking to receive compensation for promoting a product or a destination, or they're looking for payment for something that they're going to promote. And a content creator, while a content creator could be an influencer, I look at a content creator as someone like Martin, who creates amazing films and photography, and he gets paid to do those things, and he might have a following, but his heart isn't just trying to sell you a product. He's not trying to sell you popcorn, or he's not trying to sell you some destination.
Mom jeans.
He's actually the one behind the camera, doing the editing, like that has that experience. And there's a lot of crossover, and it's a lot of gray area between those two.
Oh yeah.
But I think truly an influencer is someone just looking to make money which is I have nothing against that, versus a content creator who is creating the content potentially behind what an influencer is creating.
I've always said the difference between a content creator and influencer is sort of like bourbon and whiskey. Like, not all content creators are influencers, but all influencers are content creators.
True. Yeah.
And so that's a nice little breakdown. I looked up because I always like to have like definitions.
Oh yeah, the Webster Dictionary.
Yeah, influencer, a person with the ability to create content that influences potential buyers of a product and or service by promoting or recommending the items on social media. I got a couple interesting stats here about like influencers and influencer culture. 61% of people trust influencer recommendations versus like a brand's social media. So like someone would trust you wearing some Nikes versus like Nike actually posting something.
Okay.
Influencer market is worth $13.8 billion, which is, I didn't think it was that much.
Yeah, that's a B, billions.
Right. Nano influencers with 1,000 to 5,000 followers, which would be me. Micro influencers are 5,000 to 20,000 followers. Mega influencers are 100,000 to 1 million followers, and then celebrities are considered 1 million
celebrities
plus followers. Yeah. Nano influencers have the highest engagement rate, which I believe because usually the people that are following you when you first start out or you're small, like channel like me. It's all people that like are just messing with you because they actually really care about you.
They actually know you, yeah.
They didn't like sign up for Twitter and they're like, "Do you want to follow Elon Musk?" And like all these
Kim
people.
Kardashian,
Exactly. Micro influencers account for almost half of all influencers, which I definitely believe with costs. I work with our ambassador influencer program, and I mean that's all I work with is micro influencers. I mean it's great to be able to like help them out and connect with them.
So cool.
And there's no BS, there's no contracts, there's no like. Give us this money, and then like we'll do this one post, and then you never see him again.
The Wired It girl has just taken off.
Yes, she has been connecting with her. Shout out Shelby. Connecting with her has been awesome. And just like the whole wired headphones thing, like we've been like just selling so many portables, and it's been cool like seeing that. But it's been great getting to like know her and work with her and like send her stuff and just see her creativity.
Let her cook
and just embrace something that kind of has died off with wireless earbuds and all that stuff, and kind of making headphones like fashionable and unique and cool again. So she's dope. I've loved working with her and meeting her. Gen Z is the most influenced by social media influencers, which
makes sense that they were born into it.
Yeah. In 2019, Harris Polls did a study, and kids between 8 and 12, 1/3 of them said they wanted to be like a vlogger, an Instagrammer, or a YouTuber, which I would consider an Instagrammer. And that's something that's really interesting, and I kind of want to get into with you. Is remember when we were in high school, like your senior year, and you would talk to your counselor, and they'd be like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And you're like a doctor or a firefighter,
truck driver.
Truck driver. Yeah. Well, now kids, they want to be influencers.
Oh, yeah. Easy, yeah.
So this is a question I'd like to ask a lot of people. In your opinion, is being an influencer, is that something that you can chase? Is that like a job that you can chase and go after and get? Or is that something that's earned and society crowns you that? You don't crown yourself that. What's sort of your take on that?
Yeah. I mean, I look at it two ways. One is you just said the numbers. There's a $13 billion industry, so it absolutely is a career path for not just young people. Pretty much any age person can be
90-year-old tap dancing grandma
can
on
be
TikTok.
An influencer. So I would say, in my opinion, and like I've given talks and talked to college students and people in the past, and I'm always saying you need to have a very specific point of view to be able to have any sort of credibility in the space that you're looking to learn in or to be an influencer in. The word influencer has come from the influence. Like you have to have influence in something, and you can't just say, well, I want to be a fashion influencer if you have no idea about fashion.
Yeah.
And that's like you said, like that's something that you have to earn and you have to learn and you have to like learn and grow from those experiences.
I agree.
So I mean you have to have a point of view. You have to be offering something that's different to make it in the world. There's a lot of people that just copy what other people do and they can still be successful. But in my opinion, you'll only be true to yourself if you're creating things that are
100%.
That resonate with you.
100%. Let's get into a little bit of the copycat stuff, because this desire to become an influencer in 2022 is really different than, like I said, back in the day, wanting to be an actor or a musician or an athlete. Like, those were things that, like, I almost felt like you were sort of like born in, like you were born to be an actor, you were born to be a musician, whereas like an influencer, they see people on TikTok and Instagram or Tony Robbins on LinkedIn, and they're like, I can emulate that, and they basically just copy and create the same thing and then throw a bunch of shit on the wall and then just see if anything sticks. Do you feel like that has become a big problem? Do you feel like that's just always been there and we just are more hyper aware of it now? But just the whole copycat generation that I feel like we're kind of living in right now.
Yeah, I think due to social media, the copycat generation it's become so much easier because there are fewer gatekeepers.
Yeah.
So just like the fact that any person with a smartphone can become an influencer, that's the problem. Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
So there is no gatekeeping like in the old media. And I'm not saying that gatekeeping is a good thing. I'm just saying that in the past there were gatekeepers, whether it was the people at production studios or the people making films and movies and music. There were people saying yes, no, yes, no.
Checks and balances.
Yeah, there were checks and balances. There were people, and a lot of times that was bad because there were disproportionately number of people, like people of color or people that didn't get opportunities to do things creatively in the world.
Exactly.
And now there are no barriers. Like, you just have to have an Instagram account and a phone. So I think the copycat generation, it's become really easy. Like, you can open up your Explore page on Instagram or TikTok and you just see the same thing, different faces doing the same thing. And it works because people continue to do that, but there's always someone that's originating it to begin with, and then people follow suit.
What's frustrating is when the person who creates it originally doesn't have the sort of following, and then someone copies that. You can look to like TikTok and a lot of like dances. A lot of them come from like the African American community, and then some white person jumps on it who's popular on there, copies it, and now they're on like a late show like doing it, and that sort of stuff is frustrating. And I think it's unfortunately a caveat of something that you had mentioned that I think is really beautiful about the fact that you can just bust your phone out, is that there is no gatekeepers. The entry level to get on the internet, create whatever it is you want to create, and hit the send button and let it reach the world is incredible. It doesn't matter where you live, where you come from, how much money you have or you don't have.
Nope.
If you have access to a cell phone and an internet connection, you can start creating, and the playing field is completely level and completely even. And I think that is very exciting. But it does come with the caveats that there's going to be people that copy, there's people that hack the algorithm. I mean, that you can, if you really wanted to, you can hack that algorithm and you can become famous and an influencer.
Absolutely.
And we see it all the time. And it's unfortunate. But I mean, it can be done, but you're not, like you said, it's not authentic, and it's like, I couldn't sleep at night like that, knowing that every day all I was doing was just like doing what other people do, and
And I think that the thing is, like, when you're just getting started, it's okay to copy things that you appreciate.
I did.
Exactly. Like, you can see a point of view and say, like, how can I like put my own twist on it? And for myself too, like, even with like fashion things, like, you see things and you're like, I can do that. I can do a better version, or I can put my own twist on it. Yeah. And that's like, I think that's how everyone gets their start. So there's nothing wrong with copying people that you respect.
Absolutely.
It's just, if you don't try to grow past that, then
there becomes an inflection point where like you have to start taking what you've learned and then morphing it into what it is you really want to do, and taking all the things that you've learned and all the people that have influenced you, and they sort of create your own thing. It's like when you learn how to play the piano, you're playing Mozart and Bach and Tchaikovsky. You're not writing your own music,
right?
But at some point, if you want to be an artist, you're going to have to create your own thing, and so you take little bits of things that you learned at the piano or whatever it was, and create your own thing. And I think it's people that don't get past that or break through that wall. That's when it becomes a problem for me.
True.
And people can sniff that crap out like so easily.
They really can.
Do you think the word influencer is a dirty word now in 2022?
It's weird. Like, I do.
I hate when people
working.
call me
I think
influencer.
the thing is that because the marketing world, the marketing engine has just coined this term as like, this is what we're going to call anybody that has a following on social media, that no matter what industry, whether you're in business to business, which I've worked in, whether you're in business to consumer, it's just like, it's the hottest word to use. So you can just say to any company, you could be manufacturing car parts, you could be
snowmobile handlebars.
You could be a destination like Turks and Caicos, and influencer will be the word that their marketing teams are talking about. Like, we need influencers. We don't know what that means, but we need it. So
Yeah.
I think it feels like for me as like an influencer, a dirty word, but if that's what helps me get in the door, then I guess that's...
I just don't want to be lumped into like the same group of like Kim Kardashian and like Logan Paul.
Yeah.
And like to me, those are like, they're like in true like
they're
influencers.
celebrities there.
I'm just a content creator that happens to make a little money and get some opportunity. But like I never set out to like influence people or trick people into buying something or get a service. Or I never set out to like use my whatever status I had to manipulate people and get them to do something. Like it was always just like I would make stuff for brands because I want to make it my way. And I turned down a lot of brands. You know, there was a major beer company in Milwaukee that wanted me to make a video, but they wanted creative control over the whole thing. They wanted to be able to edit.
We just want you to shoot it.
Yeah, we want you to shoot it, and we want you to use your face to sell our beer. And it was a lot of money. And I said no, you know. And so that's why I don't like when like I get lumped into the influence. I just hate it. I think it's a dirty word. I think insane.
I think the like just to toot your own horn, Martin. Like you're a very like authentic and genuine person, and
God
those are
you.
and those are things that those are obviously
Siri.
Those are so. I think that so you're a really genuine person, Martin, and I think that those words are also become buzzwords in the marketing community. Like we want authentic communities and we want genuine people. But I think for you, like just being able to say, it's not a flex to say like I turned down money, but it's if it wasn't true to you, then that's I think people see in like your blogs and the content that you've created in the past that you're not looking to just sell things or you're not just out here to hawk things and make money. Like the things that you post are very true to you and like your vision and I think that if more people operated that way, the influencer word wouldn't feel so dirty because then it wouldn't feel like every time you saw a post from someone, you're like, well, clearly they were paid to do this. Like I always go back to the Scott Disick where he posted the caption that said like on Thursday post this and he posted that as his caption like from whoever paid him to do this. He didn't even read the caption that it was like you only put the part in quotations. So it's like stuff like that just makes the influencers look bad because like, well, obviously all these people are out here to make money, which is fine, but yeah, it just that feels really dirty. When that stuff
it feels
like that
very
happens.
disingenuous.
Yes.
Have you ever turned down money or turned down a brand because they wanted you to do something that you didn't want to or have control over something?
Yeah, well, I think for me, like working in like the men's fashion space, there's unfortunately a lot of brands that just don't like I wouldn't wear or I'm not really interested in. So it's like kind of easy to turn those down because I'm like, well, I would never wear that, so I would definitely never post that on my account because it's just not my style. So it's like you have to kind of let those people down gracefully, like, hey, like thanks for thinking of me, but that's not really for me.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
Sure. How is social media and vanity and narcissism and just people want to be seen now? How has that perpetuated influencer culture and just the obsession with people wanting to be visible all the time?
Yeah, I think it's hard because this generation of people are addicted to their smartphones in general. So even for like myself, so I don't share many personal things on my Instagram account, like at all. Like I don't share my family. I just kind of share things that I like. So like you see a very small glimpse into my world, like golf and clothes, which is, if you didn't know me, you're like, well, that's all this guy cares about. But for people that do know me, they know that there's a lot of other things going on in my life. So I think some people, it depends on like what your brand on social is. Like some people like mommy bloggers or like vloggers that are just like, they will share like from when they wake up to when they go to bed every single day and all the things that are happening. So if that's like your brand, then I can see how that's like really easy to like share those things. And that could potentially fuel a narcissistic person that they're sharing every single thing about every detail about their life.
How do you?
Yeah,
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
How do you feel as a father about parents who use their kids as content, whether you're their family, mommy influencers, or they have their kids open toys on YouTube?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? And you're welcome to feel any way you want about it. No judgment. People can do what they want. But as a dad, like when you see people using their kids as tools and pawns to sell toys and ads and make money, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, personally, like my wife and I are like very private people on social. Like I barely use Facebook. Like I have it because it's like a necessary evil when you're working in this. But I can't wait
for the day we can get rid of that.
See you later, Meta. But so personally, like I don't want to like exploit my kids or my family for that, just because like it's private to me, and like I'll share it with you if like I have a lot of group chats that I share those with, but not on Instagram. So I think it's up to the person. Like I'm like you said, I don't judge people that share their kids and share their families, because I do appreciate viewing that content as a parent, because you can see, hey, other people are going through the same thing you're going through. Yeah. Like, oh, you have a toddler that's throwing a fit in the store, or like they're
and I can see the stress in your face.
And I can see this. So like I appreciate family bloggers and the people that are sharing that content. But I mean, it's not for me. But so it's like it's a fine line. Like I choose not to do it, but I can see the benefit in it, and I can see how it really humanizes your brand, because anytime you're trying to like make a branding strategy, you want to humanize it to the consumer. Yes. So what's more humanizing to a consumer than sharing every detail about your life?
Oh, yeah.
But I think that does open you up for, like, if you look at a lot of famous vloggers or couple vloggers that have, had gotten divorced, and then like that plays out on social media.
Oh, Jesse and Gina from BF vs. GF, they were one of the first prank YouTube vloggers, and they were together for like a decade. They broke up, and boy, the internet had something to say about that.
Exactly. So it's like when you like open up your life for like public consumption,
right?
It can lead to a lot of other like heartbreak and heartache and other things, and like you have to have tough skin and thick skin, because when you're putting your kids out there and then you see the YouTube comments about people talking about your kids, it's like I couldn't
and that's
do
where that's where I have the issue with it, whether they talk about their appearance or they talk about the kid's personality. And I've talked about this before. I personally have a big problem with anyone that posts their kids on the internet, because these kids, we have a whole generation of kids that are going to grow up and they're going to turn 18 years old one day, be an adult, and their entire life is going to be on the internet if their parents allowed it. And these kids might want to be CEOs. They may want to run for public office. They may want to do a myriad of things. Yeah. And there's going to be endless gobs of content to create deep fakes, to do whatever they want with these people's kids.
Their likeness.
You use their likeness for attack ads or whatever they can think of.
Yeah.
And so that's what drives me crazy about people that use their kids for content, or they post every baby. Like, I get it, but if you're going to do it, make your account private.
Yeah.
Like, I really honestly am worried about that.
That generation of kids.
But in the flip side, I don't think they give a shit. I mean, they grew up in a world where everything is on the internet, and when they turn 18 or even before 18, they're already posting on TikTok. So in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? Am I just being a boomer?
Right.
I don't know. Well, using kids as content, it's a weird thing.
I think that's super interesting. Super interesting to think about, Martin, because I still remember my freshman year in college. The person, like one of the deans, was like, it was like freshman orientation, and he said, like, remember that whatever you post on social media someday could like come back and haunt you when you're trying to get a job. But now it's like encouraged. Like now, like sharing your life is encouraged. So it's like, it's kind of, we've done a 180 from saying don't share anything on social media to like, you should be sharing. Otherwise people will think you're not a real person.
Well, for sure. I always say I don't trust anybody that doesn't have at least 10 selfies on their Instagram.
That's true. It's like what do you even look like? There's, I mean, I think in like your world, like photographers and videographers, a lot of them, they share their portfolio, which is not them. So like you see a really cool like aesthetic like photography account.
Boy, what do they look like?
Yeah, like who is this person that has this amazing like street style photography?
That was something I always wanted to do as, in air quotes, an influencer. Was I always wanted to share who I was behind the camera, which I guess makes sense because I vlogged and the camera's pointed on me.
Yeah.
But even when I was doing photography before the vlog, like I always wanted to include as much as I could of my personal life so that people could relate to me and see me as a real human being. Because I think that makes you, if your goal is to sort of be popular, I don't know what other word to use, but popular.
Yeah.
Like making yourself accessible and humanizing yourself, I think is a huge thing, and it goes a long way, especially if you are authentic, which I wasn't at first. I mean, I watch my early YouTube vlogs, and I mean, you can tell I'm putting on an act. You can tell I'm nervous and putting on a show. And it's like now I can just like flip my phone out and yap to it, and I'm completely comfortable. And I think when people see that, it goes a long way. What is the most obnoxious social media platform that harbors wannabe influencers, in your opinion?
Oh man, I mean, I think
I have mine.
They all do, and maybe ours are the same. But the one platform that really bothers me is LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Woo!
And it's just like
there it is.
Everything that people post has to be like have some sort of like angle attached to it, where it's like, oh, like this is my viewpoint, or it's like, I just like whatever, I just quit my job, or just like I just did this.
They're like
thing.
proud of that.
Yeah,
like,
and then it's just like I don't get LinkedIn. Like I don't understand it.
I hate it because I feel like it's a lot of people that just listened to like a Gary Vee podcast and then went on there and regurgitated whatever it was they heard.
Yeah.
It's people, it's like hashtag Hank at the bank on his lunch break at like working in front of the bank, and then like going back and doing some like motivational thing that like he heard on a YouTube video.
Yeah.
It's just people peddling bullshit.
Yeah. A lot of bullshit
with
on
no
LinkedIn.
receipts to back it up, and it drives me absolutely insane. I cannot stand LinkedIn influencers.
It seems like it's such a weird concept to say like I'm a LinkedIn influencer. Like you're.
That's a phrase. That's a thing.
It's like,
they use all the corporate lingo and
buzzwords,
all the buzzwords.
Yeah.
It drives me insane.
Yeah, it's like I don't even know what you're doing. Like what? It's like, oh, it's Sally from HR like giving her motivational speech. I'm like, what?
I don't
what?
I don't care, Sally. What?
But then it's like, oh, that person that has like that post has 15,000 likes. I'm like, what?
It's like if you're so fucking smart, why aren't you like doing this? Why do you even have a day job? Why aren't you going around helping other companies and stuff like that? Why are you messing around on LinkedIn? It's a strange platform. It is, and for me, it's the one that harbors the most wannabe influencers.
Yeah,
they just all want to be like motivational people.
Speakers, yeah.
And the other thing that drives me crazy is there's people that'll like start businesses and they'll like document that whole journey, and they get like clout from like starting the business and like failing at it, and like
it's weird.
I don't get it. It's such an odd.
Well, you've talked about it in the past, but it's that like hustle porn.
Yes, hustle
idea.
porn.
Yeah.
That was our first episode on this podcast.
I remember that. That was great.
And that is exactly what LinkedIn is. It's nothing but hustle porn.
Yeah.
And I just
and like in like small doses, like, and the thing is like you can take some of the things that you learn on there, and it's like, oh, okay, that was interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not like my Bible. Like I'm not going to go there and be like, all right, I'm gonna learn from Sally in HR at this
some
bank.
People
yeah,
it is.
I know.
I've had
it clearly it
with
is.
People, and they're talking about, oh yeah, this person on LinkedIn posted this thing, and they start like pontificating to me about what they learned, and I'm just like, stop.
You're like, I'm good.
Stop.
Thank you, but I'm okay. I logged off today.
So do you think influencer culture is toxic to society, or do you think it's just an evolution of what's always sort of existed? Circling back. Oh God, circle back. I hate that word. Circling back to when people wanted to be actors or musicians or athletes.
Yeah.
Do you think people have always wanted to be influencers? Social media is just sort of that next phase or stage of it, or do you think it's just a completely new thing that's sort of manifested because of social media and the internet?
I think it's definitely just an evolution of like the human like connection to people. So like obviously social media has changed how people are able to connect when you have a global pandemic that shuts down the world literally, and the only way that you can connect with people is via social media. I think that also will like escalate things that were maybe at a tipping point, and now it's like people are so much more used to connecting via Zoom or connecting via video that it's not a foreign concept. So even though the younger generation, millennials and some Gen Xers, they understood like, okay, this is where the world's going. But I think in 2020, the rest of the world caught up to that. And I mean, like the boomers and everyone else, where they're like, oh my God, in order for us to continue doing business, we have to do everything remote.
Yep.
So they finally understood what the younger generation already saw as like the future. And now you see more and more big corporations like, we're fully remote, blah, blah, blah. So I think that the pandemic definitely helped escalate
for sure.
what was kind of bubbling over to, like, I think it would have gotten to that point, but I think with the world shutting down,
it exacerbated.
And every corporation saying that we have to figure out how we can keep the doors open, that then it just blew the doors open for influencer marketing, because like they were already primed and waiting. Like influencers have been around for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
So it was just now that they're getting their time to shine, because influencers were able to continue creating, because a lot of them, they just do it by themselves.
Yep.
They don't need and you can
there was no production crew,
and you can ship something to anyone. Like FedEx and UPS delivers anywhere, so they can get product during a pandemic, and they can create content. And
people had money during the pandemic to spend.
Yeah,
huge money to spend.
Yep, and influencers were taking advantage of that.
Oh, for sure. So this is a question that I've gotten asked, and I think it's something that would fascinate the listeners of this episode. How do influencers make money? I mean, you and I know the answer to
Yeah.
this, but to sort of give some information to the listeners of the podcast.
Yeah, to break it down like very basic, it's like you have a platform and an audience, and hopefully the audience is authentic and you didn't just like buy them.
Right.
But let's say you have a point of view. So I'll just go with myself. So I make golf content. I play golf. So it's like a golf brand will say, "Hey, Drew, we love your content. I'm sure your audience loves your content, and we can see that by your engagement. We would love for you to promote our brand, fill in the blank brand, and we have this new golf club coming out, and we'll pay you this much for a post." And there it is. And then you just copy and paste that in any other market or industry, whether it's like you said, makeup, skincare,
Pizza pockets.
Like there's food influencers. That's huge.
Oh, big time.
Family influencers,
Headphones.
mommy bloggers, headphones. So it's like you can replicate that across any industry.
Mm-hmm. And it's huge. It's a huge industry, and
growing.
Yeah, and there's some really creative people out there doing really cool things and taking what they've done as content creators and just sort of tweak it a little bit for a product, for a brand. And I think the people that do that really well, and when they do have like a sponsored post, it's not like just out of the blue and seems like inauthentic to what their channel has normally been. I think those are the people in the channels that really, really do well.
Yeah.
Where it's like when it's in your feed, you're like, oh, this is really cool. And like it seems like the content that they always create. It's not some weird one-off.
Yeah, where they're just like talking about it on like a single cam, and then
That's what I hate about like YouTube now. Is all of the like they're making a vlog or a video and then they stop. I want to talk quick today about today's sponsor.
Yeah.
And like there's this one YouTube channel called Real Life Lore that I love watching, and he basically talks about like what's the deepest tunnel that we could dig, or like how far can you drive in a straight line around the world, and like he has all these really cool, interesting YouTube videos. But like his sponsor, like that sponsors him is like sort of the same sort of like information and stuff like that. They're a website like where you can access information, and like he's really good at weaving his sponsors into his content in his YouTube videos versus like you watch someone and then like you watch like a mommy channel and then she pauses to talk about NordVPN or something like that. When there's that cold cut like that, it's just like I hate seeing that sort of like.
Like you didn't do a lot of work to try and work that one into like the segment.
So now I know that this vlog you made or this reel or TikTok you made, you didn't make it because like you were going to make it anyways. You made it because it was sponsored, and like those are the sort of turnoffs and the sort of like influencers that I don't like. When it's just so blatantly obvious that you're trying to sell an ad. Like I get it. But as an influencer myself, like I can't stand it. It drives me crazy.
There's definitely some ads where you're like, how did that? NordVPN, like that's weird. You were just talking about you and your kids going to the park, and now you're talking about selling a VPN. Like that doesn't make any sense.
That's the big one. All right, final question. So if you weren't doing like golf and fashion and stuff like that, like what other sort of influencer would you want to be? Like it could be like an athlete, it could be a basketball player, it could be something that like you would never be good at, but like in another world, or the metaverse.
Oh, the metaverse. Oh man,
like if you could
don't even get me started.
If you could get paid to do something that would sort of influence other people, like what would that be?
I mean, honestly, this might be an unpopular opinion, but like I'm looking forward to the day when I don't have to be on social media anymore.
Yes.
For me, that's the ultimate goal, is to not have to do like be a part of the rat race and just like be out of it. Unfortunately, my professional life and my hobbies both entail working in like social media marketing. But for me, like working on our podcast and doing things in like the media world are like definitely growing. So it's like there can be a point where I can just be creating and not having to be the one manning the social media channels.
Yeah,
like I'm good
just
with that.
Just be Drew, not everyday Drew.
Exactly. Yeah. Just regular Drew. Yeah.
That's what I've been sort of doing, like ever since I got my job at Coss, and I'm doing what I love. Like I don't need to hustle anymore. I've caught my carrot, so I've just kind of like been passing on my opportunities to other younger people and just kind of enjoying sitting back in the shadows. Like I don't care if people don't recognize me anymore, which they do, which is neat, and like I still get brands that reach out to me, but like I don't care anymore.
Yeah. It's not the end goal anymore.
But if I was in another life, I'd want to be an actor.
I could see that.
I would. I feel like that would be fun.
Actor / comedian.
Comedian would be good.
Yeah, I could see you doing some stand-up bits.
We had Serena Beecher on here for episode called "You're Not Funny," and she's convincing me to try and go up and do stand-up one day. And
I can see it. I can see you doing a tight 10.
I can be funny like in a real-time conversation,
Yeah.
but put me in a mic and like try and tell a joke.
No,
Not gonna happen. Not gonna. They're gonna
Maybe
be.
someday.
I'm not a dad, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell dad jokes. It will be that bad.
that would be a funny angle. You're like, I tell dad jokes and I'm not a father.
Yeah, right. Drew, where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram, Twitter. I mean, I don't really use those five. Instagram, Everyday Drew. Follow my podcast at Group Golf Therapy, also on Instagram, website.
Maybe see you on a commercial during a Bucks game or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. I remember when I saw you on TV and I was like, holy crap, that's Drew. And I was like texting you as if you didn't already know that.
I did. Well, it was cool. Like I was on a Golf Digest commercial, and it like aired during like Monday Night Football.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah,
That's
it was Monday Night Football, and it was also during the national championship game,
Yes.
the college football championship. So like my phone definitely got a few texts that night with people like, did I just see you on a Golf Digest commercial?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that was me.
Well, that's a nice little flex.
Yeah, that was cool. I didn't even know it was going to be a national campaign.
Oh,
like,
really?
I was down in Nevada for like the Golf Digest hot list testing.
Mm-hmm.
So they test all the newest clubs, and I was like one of the 18 people that they like brought
Nice.
down. And I didn't know it was going to be a national ad. Like it was just cool to go down and
Sure.
test like the brand new clubs for the year. So yeah, that was an extra perk.
We're gonna have to get on the course together. And,
Yes, we're gonna play some
You're gonna
golf.
have to teach me a couple.
we could go to a driving range first.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'm golfing in Door County in a couple weeks. I'm really excited. Like a really nice course.
Peninsula State
Yep.
Park. Yep, I love that place.
Just like the lake right there. I mean,
You-
it looks like
have you
a
played
video
it before?
game. No, I've
Okay.
never been to Door County.
What?
I've been to 49 states. Haven't been to Door County.
How is a Wisconsinite never been to Door County?
I don't know. My biggest dream is when we go to Hawaii for 50th state. I want to golf when I'm there. I don't care if I have to rent clubs.
Yeah,
I want to feel like
you'll
I'm
wanna
playing
rent
a
clubs,
video
yeah.
game.
Yeah, I mean every golf course. I've never been to Hawaii, but I know from seeing the pictures and
100%.
videos.
I want to
just
golf
all-
by like volcanoes.
Yeah, in
and
a
stuff.
volcano. Yeah.
Exactly. Dude, thank you so much for finally coming on
Yes.
the episode. It's been a lot of fun.
It's been a long time coming.
Oh,
Thanks,
love you,
Martin.
dude.
Love you too.